It's me, Amy. This is Book Talk, and it's Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday. Lose track of days sometimes. Anywho, here we are, Saturday, talking about books. Today, I want to go over some of my book reviews that I need to catch up on. So, I'm going to do December and January book reviews, which is not very many because I obviously can't. I didn't get through very many in December. January might have been a little better. And then all the book reviews I didn't get to from like the fall or whatever, we're just gonna forget about it. Just forget about it, okay? Because that is a lot, and I don't want to be on and on and on. So I might talk about a book or two here and there that I read and the rating, but we're gonna concentrate on moving forward. Yeah, and we're gonna get to these book reviews a lot sooner, so we're not gonna have any backlog. But yeah, I decided to loop December in because it is one, two, three books. Is it three? Yeah, three books. And did I DNF one? I don't think I did. I don't have it listed here. Anywho, so let's get right into it. So the video won't be very long. And my glasses. See if I can do without my glasses. Probably not. Probably not. I'm gonna put my other glasses. These ones have a lot of reflection. I need glasses. I need glasses to read. I can drive without glasses. I see far away really good. But reading, not so much. I just got issues. Okay, let's just go. So these are December and there's three books, so it's not gonna take that long, hopefully. Unless I get long-winded because I probably can't remember much. I mean, I remember what it was about, but I can't remember a lot of detail. That has no bearing on how much I liked it. Okay, let's see. The first one I had an audiobook and two physical books. So the audiobook was a short story from Karen Slaughter. It was Snatched. I hadn't heard of that one. I found it on the Libby app, and so I thought, oh, it was like 2 hours, and it's just a real short. It's a Will Trent story. So she writes the real Will Trent character, which there's a TV show, and she has a book series. So this was just a little short, and it's called Snatched, and I gave it 4 stars. And it's about Will Trent is hanging out at the airport in Atlanta, and on duty. I forget why he's there. I forget why he has duty there at the airport, but they're staking some things out at the airport. And he sees this little girl and this man, and he's in the bathroom. Well, he's in the bathroom, I think at first. Yeah, he's in the bathroom, taking a break, and he, I don't know, sees under his door or something like a kid in there, or in the next stall over. There's crying, like a little muffled crying or something. Anyway, he thinks something's wrong, and he gets a gut feeling that there's something bad going on. And so he ends up goes out of the stall, and the man, and there's this little girl, and I don't know if anyway, they ended up leaving the bathroom. So he starts following this guy because he's got a bad vibe, and with this little girl. And so he's going through the airport, and so the whole story revolves around um this man and this little girl. And Will is following them and trying to figure out what could possibly be going on, but because he's got his gut feeling is telling him something's up to no good. And so the whole story, this 2 hour story, revolves around him tracking them through the airport and seeing if he could get to this girl. And this airport's really big. Obviously it's a big city, a capital city, and a big city. And it uh he kind of loses him for a little bit, and then he finds the guy, and then anyway, little anxiety hurdles happening through the story. And anyway, so it goes like that. So I thought it was for a short story pretty good. I did listen to it on audio, so it gave me a lot of kind of more action packed feeling than if I was to read it. But and I got through it quickly. Otherwise, if it was a short story like that, it probably would have taken me a couple of days because I wouldn't have sat and read the whole thing all at once. But anyway, I really liked it. It was just a short Will Trent series. It has it listed as the number 5.5 in the series. So I don't know. I'm only at number I'm I have read the first two. I have the three on number three on my list. So this is a little bit further in the series, but like I said, it's you could read it on its own. It's not a big deal. But and then the next one is my first Charlie Donnelly I read was Guess Again, and I gave that 5 stars. I really enjoyed the story. I'd never read a Charlie Donnelly before, and it was a thriller. It was I'm trying to think how it started out. A girl had gone missing, and she wasn't nobody. Trying to think, was she found? Can't remember if she was found or not, but she went missing. And so the whole thing was it was an old cold case. Charlie used to be a work in the police and missing, I believe, missing persons or something like that. And he was getting like burnout on doing that, and because his job was really um his name is Ethan, I believe, in the story. And then he has a friend who is a cop still, and he's retiring, and he has this one last case to solve, which involves this missing girl, and he comes to ask Ethan for help. And Ethan has become a doctor now. Yeah, so his friend comes to him. His friend says, "Hey, I got this one last cold case. I want you to help me with it because you solved all your cases and you're really good at it. And there's this girl that's missing, and I'm about ready to retire, but I'm dying too. So I want this. I want to. I want to solve this case." So they beg him to come back. So he's working on this case on the side because he took leave from the hospital. He wasn't quitting his job. And then the missing girl, her father happens to be, um, he happens to be the governor now. Um, yeah, he's not the mayor. He's like higher up. He's like the governor. So now the governor has given him access to work on this case, like higher up and whatever he needs help with, he can get him stuff. And then he has a girlfriend, Ethan has a girlfriend who's a cop that he met through a case when he was I don't think this is a spoiler. When he was a cop, his father was killed, and there's a man in prison who I believe is a convicted serial killer. I can't remember, but is accused that he killed Ethan's father. So he also, this man in prison, has some kind of information regarding this missing girl, maybe. So yeah, it goes all along that this following this case of this girl, and it has some twists and turns, and the way it ended up is I did like it. It left off, I think this is going to be I don't know if this is a series, but the way it left off was there could be another book with this um with these characters. So I'm not sure. I haven't looked that up. I don't know. But Guess Again was, I thought, really good. I did give it the 5 stars. And my first Charlie Donnelly. So I set the bar high for Charlie. I also have The Girl Who Was Taken. This one I rented, the Guess Again I got from the library. The Girl Who Was Taken, I own it. I found it at the charity shop. So I'm hoping to get to that one soon. Um, so yeah, I'm really liking Charlie Donnelly so far. I'm 1 for 1. But yeah, that was a good one. And then the other one I read in January was You Killed Me First by John Mars. This is my first John Mars book. I really loved it. It started out with a bang, and it's about it's like a Desperate Housewives murder mystery ish. Yeah, this one started out with a bang. It starts out, this woman wakes up and this is set in England. he's an English author. This is set in England, and on um I know England. Forgive me if any other UK people out there, if this is only, I didn't Google if this is, I know it's in England, but there is on November 5th, it's called Bonfire Night. And they have fireworks, and there's this, anyway, it's a celebration of a historical event of someone tried to blow up Parliament. Anyway, Guy Fawkes. So it's also known as, I think it's also known as Guy Fawkes Night. But anyway, Bonfire Night. So this lady, it's not a spoiler, it's right at the beginning. She is um she's unconscious, and she wakes up, and she's like, she can't move, she's like tied up, and she doesn't know where she's at, and she's just trying to figure out where she is, and she's looking around, and it's dark, but she hears stuff in the background, stuff going off like bombs or something, and then she figures out it's fireworks, and then she remembers um it's bonfire night. And then she figures out, not a spoiler because it's like, it's really, then she figures out she is in the middle of, somebody has put her in the middle of one of these bonfires, and they so yeah, she's in this bonfire, and that's how she wakes up. So then the story unfolds, is basically how and why she got there. But what happens is, there is a group of women that live on this, women live on the street, that's stupid. um there's a street with several families, and there's one lady, I can't remember their name. I'll have to, I'm not good at remembering names. The one lady, she's very high strung, I would say type A personality. She's very annoying, and I really didn't like her. I want to say her name's Margot, but if it's Margot, I didn't like Margot. Um, she annoyed the hell out of me, but it was a good character for what it was. She has stepchildren, and she's always like trying to put off the perfect like perfect life, good stepmom, good wife, blah blah blah. And I think she used to be a singer or something. Anyway, and then her career went kaputs, and there she is in the suburbs of wherever this is. And then she has a friend, she has a one of her good friends lives on the street, a few houses down, I think across the street. Um, and her name is Anna, I believe. And she's very nice. She's very passive. She's very, like, whatever Margot says. Pretty much, she follows Margot's little follower. Um, Supposedly like BFFs or whatever. But Margot's really bitchy towards her. I think her name's. If I'm not, I'll put it. It'll be on the screen. Anyway, and so then this new couple move in across the street, and so Anna doesn't have children. Margot has two stepchildren, a teenage girl and a younger boy. And then there's a new couple that moves in across the street next to Anna, and I can't think of her name, but they are fresh from, I want to say, London. They've had a business or a career or whatever it is, and they've sold it, and they've wanted to move to these suburbs so their kids could have they have twin boys, so they could have a better life and raising their family. And I forget what her husband does. But she is putting together, she's building a yoga studio, a yoga, I don't know if it's a spa one, yoga, we'll say yoga, um, refreshment retreat. It's just a studio. But so she's building that. She's putting a lot of money into it. Money she saved and earned from her career in, I'm going to say London. And so you have these three women, and they're all different. And so as things go on, you find out the ins and outs of their backstories. And Anna and her, I'll say husband, because I can't say anything more than that, because it goes, once you get in near the end of the story, you figure it out. But someone had an affair, sort of, and with someone else's, one of the ladies had an affair with one of the other ladies' husband, sort of. I don't think it was full on affair. Anyway, And so things happen. It's like Desperate Housewives drama. And then things get really cooking up there at the end where some secrets are found out and the shit hits the fan and people go berserk. And there is death on on the horizon. But yeah, this You Kill Me First. That was excellent, and that was my first John Mars. I'm a big John Mars fan now. I don't have. There's another one I was gonna. I don't have it yet, but yeah, 5 out of 5 for John Mars on this one. I'm We're one for one. I'm hoping that, and I've heard a lot of good things about John Mars, and Charlie Donnelly. So hopefully, all the rest will be just as good. So that is the December I had. I think they were all. There was a 4 star and 2 5 stars. Not bad. Not bad reading for only reading 3 books. I mean, I mean, they were really good books. I really, and the audio, I really enjoyed them. So December, even though it was less, I had a good time. And so January, I have a few more in January that I read. Um, so I did one, two, three, 4, 5. I got 5 books. I read 5 books in January. That was really good. And I listed it as a book, but it's not. I didn't read the book. It was a short story. So I just read. I borrowed the book from the library, which was a collection of short stories from Shirley Jackson. But the story I wanted to read that I heard about that was in that book collection was The Lottery. So I read that short story. I didn't read any other stories in the book. Um, I might go back to that or whatever, but I just really wanted to read that story. And we'll start off with that because that was a short. It was only, I think it was about 4 or 5 pages. It wasn't very long. It was, I, I hadn't read any Shirley Jackson uh, books or stories. So I went into, I had heard about this. I had heard about a little bit about the summary of the lottery, but that with that saying it was kind of like the Hunger Games. That's the only thing I really heard about it, and I didn't Google it because I didn't want to know anything else about it. So, and I don't know when she wrote it. It's been a while, like back in the day. Couldn't tell you. I'll have to Google that. But it was a strange and I don't know another word to describe it. It it had the similarities of the Hunger Games. I will give you that. Um, I don't know how to say anything about this to not give any spoilers away. Um, Shirley Jackson. Wow. I did give the I did give the story 5 stars. It was disturbing would be another, yeah, disturbing, unusual, weird. I'm still in wonderment of what that was all about. Um, I can't say anything else. It's just a maybe a dystopian type of story. Uh, I don't know. If you're interested in the Hunger Games, this might be something you would be interested in reading the story. It's called The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. Can't really say anything about it. It's because if I say something and then it's kind of gives it away, I guess. Anyway, check it out if you want. If you're a Hunger Games fan, this might because obviously this was written before the Hunger Games, and it's just a short story. So you're not. It took me a day to not a day. It's like you could read it in an hour. But anyway, moving on to something I could talk more about. Well, I read The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier. This is my first Jennifer Hillier too, and I loved it. This was a 5 star. The Butcher was a 5 star. I heard good things about this book for a while, and I finally picked it up, and wow, that was a ride. I enjoyed every minute of it, and as it got closer to the ending, you just had more and more stuff happening. So this is about a guy who his grandfather is a retired police chief, and his Grandpa is moving out of his family home and going to a retirement home, and he's asked his grandson to live in he's given the house to his grandson. And so his grandson is a this is set in Washington State, like Seattle area. And he has a restaurant business, and he's well known, and he does really good, and he's about ready to get like a he's working on getting like a being on like a Food Network show with his restaurant. So he's getting pretty popular, and he's a young guy. He's probably, I think he was in his 30s. I can't remember. Um, and he's got a girlfriend, but they don't live together. Um, he d- so he's moving in his house, and his girlfriend's not moving in with him, but he still wants her to be his girlfriend, which is kind of she's wanting to move in, and he's needs space. So we know what that means, huh? Yeah, I'd be like, girl, you just move on. If you've been, I forget how long they've been together, couple, 2, 3, 4 years, and then he's moving into a house and he's not asking us. I thought that, I thought that was, that's a sign for the girl, but she just didn't get it right away. Um, didn't pick up on that sign right away. Anyway, so he has this house now that's grandfather, and he starts renovating it. He's wanting to change some things, and he's doing some stuff out back, and he hires some landscapers. I forget what he's going to do, a patio or something. And the landscapers or him dig up this box that's been buried in the backyard. And so he didn't know if it was his grandpa's or it had been there. So he ends up opening this box, and it has like trinkets. So his grandpa was the chief of police, and he ended up being promoted to the chief later on. He his one of the famous cases that made him, I guess, on his road to being chief, he solved a serial killer murder case, and that was in the area, and he caught the guy. Um, and yeah, so that was his big um moment of glory, I guess. So anyway, so this chief, he's moved out. The grandson owns it. He's digging up the backyard. He finds this box and or cooler or something, and it has all this stuff in it. It has like, I can't remember if it has like IDs. It has ends up having like j- jars with some fingers in it. I think he discovers, which is really weird and gross, and he keeps it a secret because he doesn't know what to do with it. Obviously, normal people would say call the police and have them come and check this out, and then he's thinking it's connected to the serial killer case, and he's not sure why, if it got there because his grandpa put it there, because sometimes police, if they're working on these full cases there, or whatever case, they'll take files home or whatever. But it was really strange that this thing would be buried in the backyard. But anyway, so that pops up right at the beginning. And so then you get this perspective from the grandfather's point of view, and then you have his point of view, and then he has this one guy friend, his really good friend, was friends with his girlfriend first. um they knew each other first, and then when he um I can't think of the guy's name. We're going to call him Chris, but I don't think that's his name. He When he met his girlfriend introduced him to this guy he was an ex quarterback for the football team Seattle Seahawks. And so they became really good friends, but he's also really good friends with the girlfriend, and he always teases like, "Oh, he has a crush on you, blah blah blah." He's teasing his girlfriend. His girlfriend's like, "No, we're just friends. We're just like brother and sister, blah blah blah." So there's like that undertone. Are they really? Are they not? And then as the story moves along, you hear about some of the cases. You go back to this one case where this girl disappeared, and um, and then trying to think, the girlfriend is she's a journalist, but she's writing a book about this famous serial killer that the grandpa had caught. And so when her mother went missing when she was little, and she's believed that this serial killer had killed her mom. And so she'd always tried to, figure it out. So she started writing this book about this killer, but also she was had been investigating, like, uh, her mom was missing. Did this guy kill her? Blah blah blah. And so we go into that side story of this serial killer, and then you have the current story of the guy and his um, investigating, like, where this stuff came from and who he thinks might be responsible, blah blah blah. And this his girlfriend ends up meeting online a woman. She went into some, like, group chat from some people who do, like, um, true crime investigation stuff. And so she met this woman online who said that she knew her mother and she knew what happened to her. And so she wanted to meet her in real life. So she ended up going to meet this lady. And then it turns out this lady ends up disappearing one night. And that's how the story goes. And as it gets near the end, you find out who really did it, who's alive, who's dead, who dies in the story. This is hard not giving spoilers away. Anyway, The Butcher, Jennifer Hillier, really liked it. It was a through ride. As it got closer to the end, it got, like, more twisty, because you think I thought it was, like, done, but then it had something else. It had another thing that happened. Had another um surprise, like, oh, and this happened, like, and this has happened, and this is, yeah. So it had, like, three or four twists at the end, maybe. But anyway, The Butcher was really good. I really enjoyed it. um I do upload my books I'm currently reading, a picture of them on my TikTok. And so I'll get people on there saying that they really like the book too, or, you know comments and stuff. And so I had a lot of people that really liked um the Butcher too. They said it was really good. So there's a lot of people out there that really. So if you haven't heard of it, you don't know about it, and you like thrillers, The Butcher is definitely one to read. And I have another Jennifer Hillier. It's Little Secrets. I just picked up from the library, so I'll probably be getting to that in March, I hope. And then the next one I have is the second one in the Cat and Lock series I read, which is Leave No Trace by Joe Callahan. And I really like the series. I like the first one, In the Blink of an Eye. It was really good. So it's based on this detect it's in England, and it's a lady. She's I think she's a DCI, Detective Chief Inspector. I think Detective Super. I don't know. She's a detective and she has a higher ranking, and I can't remember what it is. I can't remember the letters. I get mixed up for what the different ones. I'm gonna say Detective Chief Sergeant. That's not it. Um, doesn't matter. She's a boss, not the boss. Um, so this is the number two in the series, and she is partnered with this AI detective whom, in the first one, you should read more so you get the like, groundwork to the to this to this one. If you read the first one, you understand, like, this AI detective guy Locke, who is created, and the police and this com- lab company have come together and are going to try out this AI detective, and to see how he will do as helping the police solve cases. So the first one, In the Blink of an Eye, was about a cold case. So the second one was an actual active case that he helped out on. And this was really good. I gave it 5 stars. First one, I think I gave 4 stars. I liked it. It wasn't like, I wasn't overly, like, joyous and, like, oh my god, thinking about it all the time. I mean, I think about it, but it was still really good. Don't get me wrong. 4 stars really good. This was a 5 star. I liked it a bit more. I liked it more. And I think it was because I liked this one because it was working on a live case. I think with the cold case, there kind of, for me, was a lot of like, on the edge of your seat moments. Like, well, I mean, technically there were things that happened that, yeah, people's lives were at risk, but it was more so in the live case in the second one that I felt more um the need to solve the case before somebody else dies. So this one starts out, this guy goes missing, and then he's found crucified up on this cross, up on this hill from this, in this, what would you call it? Like a garbage, a junkyard type place. And so out in the freezing cold, and he's naked, and so the whole thing is like, who is this guy? Who did this to him? Why? And so they go into that. So the Locke character is more um used as like, they use Locke for like looking things up on the internet because he can read like super fast, like he can read, I don't know, superhuman fast. Obviously, he's a computer, so if you need him to look through things like video of CCTV, or look through facial recognition type stuff like that. But he also he goes with this detective Cat because she wears this wristband. She wears like a wristband that's created, and that she can holograph him to life, and so it looks like there's this person there, but it's a hologram. And so he interacts with people, and it's just, it's the way AI is going right now. So that's what's interesting about this. Is it good? Is it bad? But you see this in a good way of how AI can help with the police and different, just different things in general. And everybody, a lot of people think AI is bad and it's too much, but there's some things that AI is good for, because humanly, you can't look through a bunch of CCTV, but it takes days to look through that. So if you're looking for, a suspect or whatever, and this AI program, even though it has its flaws that you see in this, is good at doing that, is good at facial recognition, is good at, things that us with a human eye can't possibly be that good at, no matter how much of a genius we are. But anyway, I really like this. This does follow the, like I said, a live case. So this is the second one. I have the third one, Human Remains, which I have on my list to read this month, which there's only 1 week left, and I have like 6 books. I I'm just slow. I'm just a slow reader, and that's the way it is. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I read what I read when I read it, and I enjoy every minute of it. I wish I could read a little faster, but I don't know. It is what it is, people. And so the next one is The Outsiders. I got a classic in S.E. Hinton. I read this a long time ago in high school. It was like a group reading class, and I really enjoyed it. And I've seen the movie like a bunch of times. Um, I gave it a 4 star. It wasn't quite a five, but it was. I mean, it was a really good classic. It's a really good about friendship and family, and um, your chosen family and your birth family, and how your chosen family could be, more of a family to you than your birth family at times. But this is back in the I believe it was the 60s. This is set in, this is, she wrote it in, S.E. Hinton wrote this in 1967. I think she was 15 or 16 years old when she started writing the story. So she was a teenager herself, and she was writing about what she knew. And this is set in Oklahoma, and it's just about these three brothers. Their parents were killed in a car accident, and the oldest brother ended up having taken care of the other two. The second brother quit school, and he works at a gas station. And the youngest brother is still in school. He's 14, 14. I think he's 14 when it starts out. And he has a best friend. So the brothers is Dairy, Soda Pop, and Pony Boy. And yes, that's their names that their parents had given them. Um, Dairy is Daryl, but the other two is Soda Pop and Pony Boy. That's their real name. And Pony Boy's best friend is Johnny, and he comes from a really horrible home, abusive home, and he spends a lot of time with these brothers and the other friends that are close to their little group, their little gang, if you will. It's not the gang like we have the Bloods and the Crips gangs and the Nor the Norteños and the Serranos. It's not like that. These did a bunch of fist fight type gang when they were fighting the other ones, or I mean, knives would come out too. So this is just a story of growing up, and it's a classic one. If you haven't seen the film, it's a good film. Um, yeah, it's the saying "Stay gold, pony boy." That's from this book. That quote, if you've ever heard that. And then that was 4 star. I really love that. That's a classic. I mean, it is. It's a classic. And then the next one was Breathe In, Bleed Out. I heard about this from some other booktubers, and I really wanted to read it around Halloween, but I didn't get to it. It's a slasher type horror, and horror thriller. It's slasher. It was a shorter book. It was 282 pages, and I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I think the reason I gave it 4 stars is because at the beginning it seemed kind of like a slow burn for me, and I wanted it to pick up kind of, if I'm gonna have my slasher horror books be like a 5 star, I need it to pick up right away. I mean, I need there to be like start off with a bang, some things happening, some oh my gods, and like no, like in the movie. So some people said this could be like the vibe of Scream. So thinking in the movie Scream, how that movie, if you've seen it, it picks up right away. It starts out with a bang. You got a murder happening like right away at the beginning. And this it started out slower than what I thought it would be, but it did pick up. And by the time it got to the end of it, I was really liking it, probably towards the middle, I guess. Once it got towards the middle, towards the end, I was liking it better. But once it got to the end, you had several like aha moments, or uh, yeah, just little twists in the story at the end. There were several twists that I didn't see coming. Um, I read a lot of thriller horror. I'm not saying I'm dumb and I can't spot it, but this one just I just didn't get it, and I was like, "Oh wow. Oh my god, that's pretty good." So yeah. So this is about a girl who can't remember her. She was engaged, and her fiance, well, she got engaged while they went on a mountain hike or whatever, and there was a snowstorm, and they got caught in the snowstorm, and her fiance um died, and she came back. She barely made it out alive. um she was rescued, and so she's been having um really bad survivors um guilt, and different things were happening. And so her friend, one of her best friends, gets her to go to this. She's got them tickets to this retreat, to this like spa retreat out in the desert. This is in where is this? Arizona, New Mexico? Don't remember. It's somewhere where there's a desert. I don't think it's No, it is California, because they talk about um what is the name of it? My mind is blank. Uh I'll put it on the screen because I can't think of it. They talk about this area. It's in this area of the desert. It's in California. Anyway, so they go to this retreat, and then some things start happening, and so there is this gal, can't think of their name, of course can't. Her best friend. There's another guy that they've all known each other for a long since college. And then there is another lady who's a yoga instructor, and then her boyfriend. And so there's 5 of them. So as it gets going, people start getting killed off. And so the only other people at this retreat are the I'm gonna call him, because I can't remember the name, what his title was, the yoga master, and his assistant. So yeah, and so people start getting killed off, and so it's a slasher, obviously, but and so it just goes until you're trying to figure out who the slasher is and why, and that's that. So that was Breathe In, Bleed Out by Brian McAuley. I did really, like I said, as it picked up towards probably the second half of the book, I really liked. The first half to me was like slow burn. It was slow. I needed to pick it up. So I think that's why I gave it 4 star. Anyway, and the last one is Snow Creek by Greg Olson. I hadn't read anything by this author. Well, I hadn't read anything about from except for Joe Callahan. I read the first one. Everybody else, I haven't read any books by these people before. So this turned out to be a really good reading couple months because for reading some unknown authors and then turning out as good as it did. It's really great. So the Snow Creek is a book one in a series, I guess. I don't know if the other ones are out, but this is Detective Megan Carpenter series, and this is set in I think it's Washington State. I've read several books the last few months that have been set in Washington State, which is really odd because I didn't have, you know, like mental thought to like, oh, this is in Washington State too. Why don't I read it? It was just like a random, I want to read this book. It sounds really good. And then it turns out to be it's set in Washington State. So I don't know what's up with that. No, I don't want to live in Washington State because it rains too much there. I'm not a rainy person, although we've been having a lot of rain here. But anyway, that's here nor there. So this is this Megan Carpenter detective. She moved to this small town outside of Seattle um, to work at this small police station, which nothing's supposed to ever happen in this town. It's, pretty. People live up in the hills, like secluded off that living off the grid. And so one day, a woman comes into the police station and wants to file a report that her sister's missing. And but also she hasn't seen or talked to her sister in a while because she lives in Utah and her sister lives here in Washington State, and she's married, and there's 2 kids. And so she can't get a hold of her sister, and they live kind of off the grid. I wouldn't say like it seems like a fundamentalist religious people that not not like they don't have technology. It's just they don't want anything to do with the outside people, really. I don't know how to explain that. But anyway, they live off the grid. And so in this one community here, so she has the address where they live. So Detective Megan goes up in this hill country. I call it hill country. I don't know how far away it is from the police station, a couple hours maybe. Um to look up this address to see if she can find this sister and her husband or the family or what's going on. So she takes the sister with her and she goes to the house and she sees that these 2 kids are they're at the house by themselves and they're teenagers. And they're like, no, my mom and dad, they were supposed to go on to Mexico to work in this orphanage down there to, you know, do some good things and help build some stuff. And so they left the kids here, but they hadn't heard from their parents. And so so Detective Megan's on the case, and this sister, she's like, oh, okay. Um, she has to go back to Utah because her husband doesn't want her being gone that long. And anyway, so she leaves, and so Megan's here to solve this case, and the kids are like, it's okay, we're fine, but we're really worried about our parents, blah blah blah. And so aside from this story, there's another story happening where there's a couple, 2 ladies that live in the hill area, but so there's like a handful of people that live in the similar area, but because it's kind of spread out and woodsy, nobody really interacts with anybody. And so you have this other couple, um, 2 ladies who are I don't know if they're married or if they didn't get married. I don't know, but there's something strange going on there. I had this right away. There was something weird. There was a strange vibe about their story. It just didn't set right. There was something going on that I couldn't, because they would be like, the one lady's sick and she had to stay in bed, and the other lady goes out and they have like goats or whatever. They live off the land, and so she has to take care of stuff. And so one day, the one lady that's taking care of the animals, she hears this arguing or whatever out beyond the trees by this roadway. They can't see her, but she can kind of hear, and she kind of walked. She heard some arguing, then she heard this bang or whatever, and something happened, and so she went to check it out. and she seen that there was this truck off the roadway, and there was a dead person on the side of the road. She went out, I think, the next day to look to see what happened, what that noise was. But the first time, there was a noise, and she came back, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know." She's afraid for people to find out where they're at. So something's going on with these people because she's like paranoid that somebody's going to find out where they're at. And I'm like, "What have you done that you're so scared that somebody's going to come and knock on your door?" Anyway, so you got these two ladies with this story, and then there is supposedly uh something happened and there's a dead body, and then this detective Megan is trying to find these lost parents, and it was really interesting. I think I gave this a 4. Some parts was a little slower than you know uh, slow for me, but I think overall it was a good. I really liked it. I would read the next book if I find out what that is. But yeah, 4-star Snow Creek, Greg Olson. It's the Detective Megan Carpenter series. And that was really interesting. That also had some twists at the end that I really actually enjoyed that I didn't see. I was thinking that I was figuring it out, and then some things happened. And so I was having a feeling about what was going on with these two lady characters, and it kind of was what I thought, but it was different. It wasn't exactly, I didn't figure it out exactly. And so the ending of this story of these missing parents was a bit twisty, which I enjoyed. And this book wasn't very long either. It was like 266 pages. So yeah, I would, I would recommend all these books. I really enjoyed them all. Like I said, everything was at least a 4 or 5 star. So what can I say? December and January were pretty good. And I've had a pretty good February also reading month. Haven't got very far. How many do I have? I'm reading I'm reading Ask for Andrea by Noelle W. Illier. I'm really liking that. A lot of people have liked that one. I've gotten a comment on my TikTok that um from someone who really enjoyed it, and she said there's a book two, and it's supposed to, I guess, a series. So this was the first one, so I guess there's a second one, and I can't remember the name she gave it, but I'm about halfway through, and I'm already wanting to read the second one because thinking I'm wondering how the second book's going to be from what I'm reading so far, because I'm kind of I'm wondering how that's going to go. But I'm reading that one. I finished The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. I finished Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier, and I'm still reading Lethal Passage by Eric Larson, which I'm like over halfway through, and that's a nonfiction. But yeah, so far there's like 4 books in February, doing pretty good, and that is that. It's a longer video than I wanted because I chit chat and get sidetracked. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next week. I'm wanting to do maybe a shelf. This shelf here, I have my fiction. Well, I have fiction out in the hallway too, but these are the ones I've just brought in here that I'm really interested in getting through on my TBR. There's actually 3 shelves on this bookcase. You can't see the third one because it's just below the bed. And this shelf over here is my classic lit, and my there is nonfiction on this next shelf. And then I have my TBR cart. So I'm hoping maybe I will do a um, shelf tour, and maybe I don't know how many parts because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 things. There may be a 4-parter at some point, but maybe a shelf tour or a TBR cart tour. Um, that would be shorter. But yeah, this is my nonfiction I'm wanting to get to more, or wanted to get to sooner than later. Yeah. But yeah, so thanks for coming by. We'll see you here again next time, and have a good weekend. Thanks.